We're in a game of League, and I'm about to show you how to win your games as Vayne. What is up, guys? My name is MipZ, and welcome back to yet another League of Legends video. So today we're playing none other than the Night Hunter Vayne. And as most of you guys probably already know, this is my absolute favorite ADC. It's probably the ADC I've played the most throughout my entire time on League of Legends. And there's one good reason for this. This champion has like this unlimited potential. It is so fun to be super like disorientating your enemies with tumbling away and using the invisibility when you have your ult up to just like kind of confuse your enemies. Use your E to knock them into walls, and even use E and then flash after to redirect the E. Anyway, there's so many fun plays you can do on this champion, and the potential is literally limitless, which is amazing. Anyway, what we are going to be doing today is that I'm going to be teaching you guys how to play this champion in the early, mid, and late game in the overall strategy. We might also go a little bit in and talk a little bit about how to use the abilities, a few combos, maybe like the E flash combo if it becomes relevant. But yeah, I hope you guys are very much going to like this one and learn a thing or two, hopefully, or a lot potentially. So yeah, if you guys are new in here on this channel, then make sure to go down below, click that subscribe button, join into our awesome community, and also make sure to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm for me, please. I would really greatly appreciate it. And lastly, if you want to hang out with me on stream, then go to twitch.tv/MipZ_live. Anyway, we are in the game, and I know this looks weird because apparently we're facing a Lilia as an ADC, which is like, I know this is not ideal. Sadly, I can't really control what we're playing against, and I must admit that this is a normal game. And the reason why I'm going into a normal game is because when I do these guys, I'm not focusing on playing absolutely perfect. I rather focus on making the video entertaining and also making sure that I can showcase these things. So yes, the players we're playing against here are not pro players in any way, but hopefully they're not too bad either. But yeah, the only thing that annoys me a little is that this guy's of course playing a champion that you probably will never see in the bot lane. Anyway, everything that I will explain to you guys will still apply, and I'll play from the perspective of playing against something that is actually normally something you'll face down here. All right, so first of all, let's talk a little bit about why you want to pick Vayne. So Vayne is something you don't really pick because of her laning phase. She's not like, her laning phase is not extremely good. It's not bad, but it ain't great. She's not a champion you pick to win lane. Once you get really good on her though, you can probably outplay a lot of champs on her and do really well even in the laning phase. But the thing is with Vayne is that you're actually really hard countered by things that can outrange you in the early game. This is where she really struggles. This means champions like Caitlyn, Draven is also extremely good because of his early damage. You will also probably struggle against something super aggressive like a Lucian. These kind of champs can really take a toll on Vayne, and it's something that you do want to keep in mind. All right, so as we're sitting here, I see these guys are going for what I presume is a pretty bad engage. As you see, we're kind of trying kite forward. We should be able to get a kill here, get the first blot. Not going to be able to get the second, but we are going to get an extra shot on him. All right. So this is of course a little bit, the kill here is a super misplay by them. A big part of it, like I was sitting on my E for quite a while. I could have knocked Nautilus into the wall up here, but I was kind of waiting for an opportunity to use it onto their Lilia because I didn't see any chance of killing Nautilus necessarily that easily. And at the same time, I knew that their Lilia will most likely position themselves poorly as they move up and try and help. Are you kidding me? But anyway, this is really dumb. He's probably gonna die for this. There we go. All right, so my focus right there was just getting 2 stacks of silver balls such that I could flash up and get the last silver ball off and kill my target. Holy crap, I'm missing a lot of CS in this game. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the overall champion. I think we'll leave the CS while we're back, and I can explain some of this stuff while things are not that hectic. All right, so in terms of Vayne in the early game, the way you got to think about Vayne when you pick her and when you go into the laning phase is basically that you don't have to win the laning phase. This is quite important and something that a lot of people don't understand or don't do on Vayne. Yes, when you become really good at Vayne, you will probably be able to be very consistent and punish your enemies for making mistakes like this Lilia made. I'm not saying that her play was good in any way. It was a huge mistake which we punished, and it wasn't because I did an amazing play and punished it. It was just like a very casual. But as you get really, really good on Vayne, you will be able to punish small mistakes and turn them into a lead. But generally speaking, with Vayne, what you got to be thinking about is Vayne is a hyper carry. She's a champion you choose for the mid to late game. This is where she's absolutely ridiculously good. Like she's mind-blowingly good at this point. The cool thing about her is that she can kill anything. Like put anything in front of her and she will shred it because of her true damage from her silver balls. And this is the reason why we picked this champion. Also, she has the potential to mechanically outplay her opponents. Literally, we've all seen gameplay of people, or even I have videos here on YouTube where I literally like basically 1v5 people where we just kite around and they're not able to catch us at all. So there's so much potential on this champion, but it's all about learning how to actually set yourself in a position to really utilize her full potential. And that's a big part of what we'll talk about today. All right, so with that out of the way, you gotta understand with Vayne, when you pick this champion, you don't have to win the early game. All you have to do well in early game to basically, like, I want to say it this way, all you have to do to win the early game is that you have to have equal farm with your opponent. If you come out of laning phase with equal farm as your opponent, or even a little bit less, you can kind of think of that as a victory, because you are going to outscale almost every single ADC in the game in terms of late game potential. Like, there are a few champs that can kind of contest you. Champs like a Cockmoth can, but it's like they don't have the same potential to kite around. Like, a Cockmoth is very dependent on his team to protect him. Vayne isn't. Vayne, you are an absolute beast by yourself. If your team is doing poorly, you can split push as a Vayne. You have much more like overall like game strategy potential to be like, okay, this I can't play around this, I will do something else. You can split push on a Vayne, which is something you can't do on a Cockmoth. If you do that, you're basically signing your own like death certificate, to be honest. All right, so now that we've kind of understood this fundamental idea that Vayne wins laning phase if you get the same farm as your opponent and you don't die. That's basically a win. It's basically, you basically win the lane right there. Of course, if you can get kills, that's amazing, and that'll only increase your lead. But that's what we want to play around. We just want to play around coming out of laning phase safely with decent to good farm. If we can do that, we're in a really good spot, and that's going to put us in a position to carry the game. All right, so let's talk about what can happen in a game. So there's a couple of different lanes. First of all, you can get pushed on the turret, and this can be a place where it can be kind of difficult for Vayne to strive. Vayne is not the worst champion to farm with under turret. She does require a little bit of practice, but with good use of her tumble, because you can get this. For those of you who don't know, then our Q, the tumble, is what we call an auto attack reset. This means that if we cast an auto attack here in IQ, you can see that we instantly auto attack right after as we finish the animation for the Q for our tumble. So this can make it easier for us to farm minions on their turret in case there are minions that we can't hit or struggle to hit. A neat little trick that I think is really good for most of you guys to learn or know is that if you tumble into a wall or some kind of object like a turret, then if you're standing right beside the wall, I'll try and show you guys in a second here. I'll just push this and I'll show you. If we could, let's imagine we're under this turret. I'm going to use this wall as an example. But we want to last hit and we want to do it fast because we're actually just about to lose a cannon. Then if you tumble into the wall, you can see how quick the animation is. It's actually shorter and the shot will go off a lot faster if you tumble into a wall, if you're standing right on top, like basically it is, since you can't tumble anywhere because you're already with your side into the wall, right? So this is a way of if you're about to miss a minion, then it can be easier, and especially cannon minion, it can be easier if you're standing right on, like right with your side into the turret and just tumble into the turret. Then you will get an extra shot fired off basically instantly. This can be used for other stuff as well, like team fighting, where you maybe in one case don't have to kite away. Then you can tumble into the wall to just optimize your damage, because you're gonna sit there and just fire off your shots. However, the most normal circumstance for this is not gonna be for fights, because for fights you want to hold on to your tumble to kind of use it for kiting and to ensure that you hit your abilities. That you can kite away from your targets, not hit your abilities. So this is pretty important, and also so you can reposition like overall. Right here, I'll just take some free poke. I need to be careful so I don't get hit. There we go. All right. I don't know what this dude is doing. I'm not gonna ult here, I think. Shouldn't need it. I'm gonna heal this guy. Oh, that was a good grab. Oh, we'll back out. All right, I didn't really want that fight that badly because it was not a great place to fight, but we tried to group up on it and help, and it kind of turned out, but we had to use all of our cooldowns. All right, so one of the best cases for using this tumble into the wall where you cancel the animation because you're already standing off the wall is something like when you're going on Drakes and Barons. Then use the side of the Dragon Pit or the Baron Pit to basically do this. We'll just wait for a dagger, but you can use these sides, like stand on top, like into them, and then tumble into it. It'll actually increase your damage slightly, which is really, really nice. Like, it's a really good thing to do. And I think it's just a neat trick for anybody. Like, it's the minor thing, but it shows that you basically understand the fundamental of how to increase your damage on the champion. All right, so for the laning phase, there are a couple of different things. Now we talk a little bit about if you get pushed on their turret, what you want to do is you only want to try and farm. You are not going to try, if you're pushed on their turret, you're not, and I'm going to repeat this and say it very, very clearly, you are not by any means going to try to, oh, whoop, I'm going to push her away from my teammate. I'm not going to dive this because I'm actually a little afraid here. Oh, I see Nautilus out of mana. I'm going to dodge this. Should get that one. Nautilus is still out of... I thought he didn't have enough mana. Well, that's my own fault. I thought he didn't have enough mana for his grab. That's the only reason why I went out there. I knew I was gonna die if he could grab, but, well, yeah, I thought he was doomed. That was a basic mistake. Anyways, that's super fine. It's gonna put them a little bit back in the game, which might be pretty good, so I don't just show me stomping them, like, absolutely completely in the ground, which I think is a good thing because makes the game more interesting. And also, hopefully, they won't surrender, because this is one of the big issues in a lot of my guides, I feel, is that the enemy team actually surrenders to like 15 minutes, which is really freaking annoying, because it makes it harder to go through everything that I want to go through. All right, so as we talk about, if you're pushed on their turret, it is very, very important that you make sure that you just focus on farming. You do not poke the enemy if you're on their turret. And because, okay, let me maybe rephrase it in a little bit and say you do not poke if it means that you're gonna lose any minions. Minions is your primary source of gold. Gold is the most important thing in the game. This is what makes you strong, especially as an ADC. You are the most gold dependent champion or role in the entire game. It is extremely important that you don't lose minions because you're trying to poke a little bit. Poking is not going to help. Vayne is extremely good at playing like all-in engages by knocking people into the wall. She's not necessarily a poke champion. You can poke a bit with her. You definitely can. She's not a bad poker, but it's basically you have to kind of learn how to play around it. So yeah, in a disadvantage or in a unfavorable matchup where you get pushed on their turret, make sure you just farm safely, do it as well as you can. Rather miss a little bit of CS than getting poked too much, and don't poke your enemies if it means you lose CS. All right, so apart from that, when you're playing in a favorable matchup, then generally speaking, you have two things you can do. You can, for one, you can sit and kind of keep the wave here. This is going to give you some good like headroom to run down your opponents using your ult, and also to try and find them out of position. Pretty often what you want to do on Vayne when you want to try and catch them is that you want to actually try and move up to the side here. The reason why it's good to move up here is because that means your opponent mentally, people will always reposition oppositely of where you are. So you can see if I move up here, you'll see that their ADC goes down. If I move down, she's going to move up. Me positioning up here will then put me in a situation where it's easier for me to find a stun onto her by throwing her into this wall. And the reason why I want to prioritize this wall is because this one is pretty narrow and this one is kind of awkward. So it's much easier for me to find her down here with a misstep on the bottom side. So that's why you can see I go up here. You'll see she moves a little bit down. And this is generally what any player will do almost at any rank, because it's just like a mentally thing that you do when you're playing against. I have so many of my friends, even people that are not good at the game, that they don't realize they do it. It's very subconscious that people generally do this, that they will position oppositely. There is of course supports that try to grab you. They will not do this, but you can see right here, it's a perfect example. If I go down here, just look at how she moves. She will most likely move up top side, especially if I go forward here. You can see how I can control her movement. So you got to think about how you can actually control the game. So right here, I see her out of position. We're going to throw her into the wall and we're just going to punish her right up, straight up. And there's nothing she's going to be able to do. All right, I was not really looking at the enemy team coming in because I was trying to explain this, but I feel like it still kind of shows overall everything. I am gonna die. This guy's gonna dive me. Like, I did not look at the map at all, but I got to show what I wanted to show. But yeah, when I'm explaining and not really looking at the map at the same time, then this kind of stuff happens. But I think you get the gist of it. You can actually control where the enemy player will move to, and then all you need to do when you do this is you need to start looking, you need to start really paying attention to when they're misstepping. When are they stepping out of line? Like I saw right there, Lilia took one step too close to me, one step too far into the lane. I was like, I got you. And that's what you need to do. You need to think about this when playing Vayne if you're going for the engages. In terms of going for engages, then generally speaking, Vayne is best at doing this post level 6. Once you get level 6, your ult is an extremely good tool. It allows you to really duel people, and it's extremely strong. All right, let me move down here, see if I can just make sure that I pull them off this set so he's not in trouble. There we go. All right, so in the laning phase, in terms of playing and poking your enemies, then the way you're gonna poke people, if you're not gonna miss minions, then you can poke people, right? This is what we talked about a moment ago. Whenever you do poke, you want to of course try to go for getting your 3 stacks of silver bolts off. This sounds pretty obvious, but it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. Okay, I'm dead here. They're all gonna jump my face now. Holy shit. Yeah, okay. Not a part of my plan. Yeah, I'm making a lot of mistakes right now, but holy shit, it's also just an ARAM down in bot side for some apparent reason. I don't really know why, but it's interesting. All right, but let me just explain this. I'll make sure that we get into it and I'll stop making too many mistakes here. But like, as I've said before, the purpose is not to show you guys absolute perfect gameplay, and it's not to show you guys that I do stomp people. It's to explain to you guys so you guys have some tools you can use, and also hopefully make this kind of entertaining, even if you're not playing Vayne, or even like if you just like want to learn how to play against it, right? All right, so in terms of all this, when you are wanting to poke your enemies, you want to play around your W, your silver bolts, which is your passive. As we all know, you have to hit your target 3 times consecutively in order to actually manage to get this off. Right here, I'm gonna try and see if I can I'm not gonna go further. The reason why is I used my Q there and I was a little too afraid. If Nautilus grabs onto me, I do die in a 1v2 for now, so I'm gonna be a little careful. But we did get a little bit of poke in, a little bit of pressure back. Drake's right there. There's probably 4 people again. Okay. All right, so when you are poking, you want to play around your silver bolts. And the way we play around getting our silver bolts proc is we have to hit the same target 3 times in a row. The best way of getting this off is we have a couple of different tools. First of all, we can go for an auto attack. We can go for an auto attack, then Q, so we tumble and reset our auto attack. So we go for auto attack, Q, auto attack. This is 3 stacks. That's going to proc that. That is the most common use of poke you will do. So you will go up to your enemy. Maybe they're going for a CS. I'll see if I can do it right here. We'll see. As they run up for a CS, I might miss a minion for it here. Like, it doesn't matter. This is just to showcase. I'm gonna wait for them to come in. I'll run up, I'll auto attack, I'll Q, and then I'll go for another auto attack. This should proc the passive. The thing is that getting the stack off, you have to evaluate whether or not it's worth it or if it's too big a risk. Against this one, I will have to evaluate whether or not Nautilus will grab me if I do it. If I move past my own minions, then I'm in a risk zone where Nautilus can poke me, right? This is something we got to keep in mind. All right, so for some reason, she's not moving up at all, so the poke is getting a little harder. We might be able to just poke her under her turret instead, so that's what we're gonna do. I might have to keep a little bit more of an eye onto. All right, so right here, we are gonna probably get, like, okay, Kasten is up there. Kasten is what I fear the most right now, to be honest. All right, we'll push them on their turret. But we're kind of just trying, like, they're playing really defensive right now, so that's why it's a little bit hard for us to poke them, because that's one of the things with Vayne is we don't really have a ridiculously good range at all. Oh, wow. Here comes the cavalry. Okay. Whatever. Holy shit. Oh my god. Okay, this is actually kind of hilarious. Like, I think it's a long time since I've seen people being this focused on bot lane. Even, like, well, it's fine. It's fine. It's kind of a fun lane. All right. I'm gonna try not to show this poke right now, because it's just, we're putting ourselves in situations where we're just gonna die, because apparently everybody just goes bot lane right now, which is weird, but whatever. It's working, so I guess I can't blame them, right? Anyways, the poking is quite simple. Auto attack, Q, auto attack. Then we have our other type of poke if we're in a scenario where we're like, we can see that we can't get the third stack off and we really want to get this poke in. Then we can go for an auto attack into a Q into an E. Your E actually applies a stack of silver bolts. So yes, you are going to push them away from yourself, but it is going to apply that stack. The downside of doing this is that your E, your condemn, is a quite mana expensive ability. So whenever you do this, be aware that it's gonna cost you some mana. But if you know you're gonna back anyway, then you might as well do it. You might as well get that free trade in. Also, it's hard for the enemy to trade back when you do this, because they're gonna get pushed away. All right. In this case, I'm just going to go back real quick because I want to finish off the Phantom Dancer. That's going to be a huge item. Then we're going to start building into a Ruined King. For this game specifically, the Ruined King might not necessarily be the best choice, but we're going to build the standard build so you guys know what to build. So I'm not going to deviate from it, even though there are some specific items that might be better for this specific game. All right, so let's, for the early game, I feel like we've covered like basically most of it. Me going for Nautilus here is, by the way, super dumb. All right, we did get some of it. I just shouldn't have gone for Nautilus at the beginning. I should have gone directly on the other guy. Please don't surrender, please. I really hope our team is not going to surrender. That would actually suck. I'm going to just say we can do this, which we probably can, actually. All right. So let's talk a little bit about how to play Vayne in the mid to early or mid to late game. So in the early game, we want to poke. We want to play safe. Only poke if it means we don't lose minions. Follow up on your support if they make engages. So that's basically the early game. For the mid to late game, what we want to do is we do want to rotate to the mid lane if possible. But if we do rotate to the mid lane and our mid laner does not want to move to the side lanes, then go back to the side lane. When we are in the mid lane, it means that we're closer to all objectives, meaning that we can help out a lot more. We have our support with us as well, which means that we're 2 players in there. So that's the ideal thing. In terms of the overall strategies on Vayne, it is quite different than on other ADCs. But the cool thing on Vayne is that Vayne can actually 1v1 people. This means that if you see someone out of position, you can actually go there even alone. You can literally go there and 1v1 them, especially if their ADC is out of position. Then you can punish it really freaking hard. All right, our team is constantly fighting this. Maybe I should have moved up here. I'm gonna try and see if I can help this. I'm not gonna be able to. I'm not gonna be able to get there before it's too late. All right. So in terms of the mid to late game, we want to go mid. If our side laner doesn't rotate to the side lane, then we have to go to side lanes ourselves. This is not necessarily the worst case. On a lot of ADCs, this would really suck. But on Vayne, you actually are, like, you're a pretty good split pusher. If they send a top laner to you, you can probably beat it. If they send anyone to you, you can probably beat it one-on-one. She's an extremely good duelist, especially if you're mechanically skilled on her. So this is something you want to really keep in mind, that it's not necessarily a terrible thing for you to go side lanes if your mid laner does not want to go. And even if she does want, or even if she or he wants to go side lanes, then there are cases where you might be like, okay, well, I can see that we can actually win the fights. Maybe it's better that I split push this game. Vayne is a great split pusher. This is where she really comes into play, because she's a champ that doesn't rely as much on her teammates. Okay, we need some distance here. Oh my god, then this guy comes along. Really? The thing is, we would have beaten this guy alone, but then Kassadin came. All right, so I want to explain what I wanted to do here with Teemo. I was trying to max distance him, and I was trying to kind of bait out his blind and then tumble away. As soon as we baited out the blind, I moved back in, because now I knew that I could win the engage, which I would have. Even though he was 3 levels above us, we could win this engage pretty easily, especially as he moved up to the bush and I could knock him in. If Kassadin hadn't come to his rescue, he would have been dead. So yeah, that's kind of the plan. Teemo is an annoying one, however, to play against. You can buy something like a QSS that you build into a Mercury Scimitar. That can be super good against him. All right. So in the mid to late game, whenever there are objectives, we of course want to team fight together with our team. The way you team fight on Vayne is actually quite simple. Well, you can do a couple of different things, but the main strategy, and the one that you should be playing, especially as a new Vayne, and even at least until you've fully mastered it, is that you just want to play backline. You want to go for the closest target to you. You don't want to be going for anything else. The reason why you want to do this is because Vayne has true damage. You melt anything. Is there, like, even a Rammus, like even the most tanky champs in the game, you freaking melt them. They're like butter. You're like a Swiss butter knife. Like, you absolutely fucking melt everything. So this is something you want to keep in mind. Holy shit, I am getting absolutely destroyed this game. So this is something you really want to keep in mind. A big issue for us in this game is, of course, like, I'm not doing absolutely amazing at all, but the thing is, we don't really, our team is just getting picked up, and this guy, this Kassadin, is like beyond fed. He's extremely, yeah, he's really fed. They have been doing pretty well. We are sadly going to lose this game. That was a really sad one. However, I think a lot of what I've explained do still, like, it still applies, and I'm sorry that this game went pretty terrible. I have a lot of games on Vayne on the channel that you guys can see where we absolutely destroy people. But as I've said, the purpose is not to show you guys perfect gameplay. But let me just explain the last thing here, and that is, in team fights, you want to be going for the closest target to you. This is very important. You meld it completely. As you become a better and better Vayne player, you do have the option of flanking the backline or doing like more cheesy plays. I would not recommend anybody to do this unless you are very experienced with it and you know how to track cooldowns, meaning that you know how to track if Leona has her jump, her ult, all this stuff. So you know, because this stuff has to be out of the way for you to do these like assassin like plays. And yeah, in the mid game, make sure that if you see their ADC going to the side lane, you can actually just go assassinate them. You're a lot stronger in 1v1s, which is a really, really neat thing. But generally speaking, team fighting, play the backline, go for the closest target. Don't use your tumble to tumble into people, just use it to move backwards. And then use your E to peel for yourself and knock somebody into a wall. But yeah, this was of course a really bad game, and I'm sorry for that, but I do feel that it showcased quite well like a lot of the things with Vayne, and unfortunately, like, it was a terrible game. I'll show you, I promise you guys, I'll upload some other time a Vayne gameplay that absolutely melts them. But this one, I feel like we pretty much vocally covered a lot of the things that you guys need to learn to really have some tools at your disposal to get really good at Vayne. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you found it useful, make sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe down underneath if you are new. And yeah, if you want to hang out with me and stream, go to twitch.tv/MipZ_live. But that is going to be it for this one. As always, stay awesome, have fun, and take it easy, guys.